The Carolina Storyteller is a campfire-style storytelling podcast covering ghost stories, legends, and true crime. Some content may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, friends, and welcome to The Carolina Storyteller. I am your Carolina Storyteller, Jonathan Phoenix, and it's really great to have you guys back. I know, this one's a little late. I apologize. It's been a very hectic couple of weeks here in Moncks Corner, South Carolina for me. Got a lot of stuff going on. I've got school, I've got the podcast, I've got Valmont production going on. I've been trying to deal with Vistaprint and getting all of my stickers and all my cards and bookmarks and everything else together. So it's just been kind of a lot of back and forth. But I'm back now, and this episode is getting out. And don't worry, your next episode is going to be on time. Just took me a little bit to get back on track. Again, I apologize. But hey, I'm here now, and I've got a great story for you. Before we get to the story, I need to ask you a question. Okay? Let's say you're driving down the road. Middle of the night, it's dark out, and all of a sudden, something in the distance grabs your attention, whatever it is. Maybe it's a light, maybe there's an accident, maybe you think you see something that you don't really see. So you pull off to the side of the road, and suddenly there are these flashing lights behind you. Now you might think that this is an emergency service vehicle or something, but the person that approaches your vehicle doesn't look normal. And more importantly, he's just giving you this wide, too big for his face grin. That sounds pretty freaky to me. It sounds like something that you hear about from an SCP or one of these creepypastas. But no, this is actually a real story. It's associated with the Mothman, believe it or not. And it's had several occurrences over the past 40 years. Anyway, let me tell you the story. So to tell you the story properly, I've got to take you all the way back to 1966. In October, it's the middle of the night, and a older man by the name of Darren Werdenberger. I'm going to make sure I spell his name right. I'm sorry, Woodrow Derenberger. I always get his name mixed up because it's weird. Woodrow Derenberger. I mean, sorry, Mr. Derenberger, if you're listening to this. I didn't mean to call your name weird, but okay, it's a little weird, and I don't know anybody named Woodrow nowadays. Of course, this was 1966. There might have been plenty of Woodrows. I just never met them, and I don't know if I ever will. But this is on I-77 in West Virginia. Woodrow is traveling in the middle of October towards New Jersey when he pulls off to the side of the road after hearing what he believes is a loud crash. Suddenly, in front of his vehicle appears this strangely shaped, what he assumes is a car. It has flashing lights, but it's kind of like, it's weird. It's kind of got like a big bulbous center, and it's pointed on the ends. It doesn't look like it should be a car. It's very disturbing. Anyway, he's sitting there, and he's looking at this car, and suddenly this vehicle, which with the flashing lights he assumes it is a police vehicle, some guy exits out of it and steps towards the truck. Now, he looked like a perfectly natural human being dressed in a suit to Derenberger. He's a salesman. He sells sewing machine parts. He sees what he appears to be as another salesman. He's got a good tan, deep suntan. He's not too dark, not too light. He's wearing a very nice suit. His hair is all slick, straight back, dark brown, just smooth back. His eyebrows, his eyes, most of those facial features were very normal. Except for one thing. He wasn't normal. He had this large, almost too big for his face grin plastered across his face. And he kept his hands underneath his armpits with his arms folded across his chest. He spoke to Derenberger, but his smile never moved. He asked him to roll down the window for the right side of the vehicle. Derenberger complied. The man then stood there and asked for his name, which Derenberger gave him. And then he asked Derenberger why he was frightened. And he said, "Don't be frightened. We wish you no harm. We mean you no harm. We wish you only happiness." And then he told Derenberger that his name was Indrid Cold. This was the introduction to Indrid Cold. Derenberger reports this encounter with this strange creature in this strange vehicle to the Parksburg police. The story kind of takes off. Everybody's like, "Oh, he saw this weird vehicle that just kind of appeared in front of him and then took off. It looked like a kerosene lamp chimney, and some weird guy got out of it." People peppered him with questions about the encounter. The interview was aired all over the place about his meeting with this strange man with the smile and the fluttering lights that would look like, to all of us, police vehicles' lights. It really, really stumped a lot of people. What had happened? Was he wrong? Could this be just some kind of story that Derenberger made up? But over the next 3 weeks, other stories would come from that same night, where people would just all of a sudden have encounters with this strange, smiling man. I'm going to give you a couple of those other encounters and let you decide what you think about them. Now the first of these encounters with Indrid Cold occurred in New Jersey on October 16th, 1966. Believe it or not, this is the same night, supposedly, that our friend Mr. Derenberger had his encounter. Now, this was on 4th Street in Yonchitis, New Jersey. Man, I really need somebody who's northern to help me learn these words, because Yonchitis, I don't know, that's a weird city. But it was in New Jersey, on 4th Street. And as they're walking, they see a surreal figure standing near a fence. So this was a tall, bald man. So maybe not the same figure. He was bald, wearing a nice suit. He had his arms across his chest, his hands tucked up underneath his armpits, and a huge grin. As they came in contact with him, the two boys, Jimmy and Mouse, nudged one another and then pointed to the strange man standing by the fence. He pivoted without really turning and looked right at them. Moments later, they saw what they believed may have been some kind of UFO or something. And upon seeing it, this man's grin just became larger, and he began to chase them as if he was coming towards them. Now, it doesn't say whether or not he was running after them, but it says that of his features, they could not see his ears, and his grin was, again, too large for his face. But he continued coming after them without really moving. And that's kind of the weird thing. Like, what was he doing? Floating after you guys? I mean, these are two boys. They may have made it up. Who knows? But we're going with their story as if it was fact. And they experienced something until they had made it practically back to their homes. Now, this was hundreds of miles away. You know, one was in West Virginia on Highway 77. This is in Yonchitis, New Jersey. So for it to occur at the same time, maybe this isn't Indrid Cold. Maybe this is just another Grinning Man. And this is where the theory comes that there may be multiple Grinning Men. Because while they were seeing their Grinning Man, Derenberger was seeing his. Very strange indeed. And again, you got to think about the kerosene-shaped chimney thing, kerosene lamp-shaped chimney thing of a vehicle that was seen where Derenberger was, whereas opposed to, they said they thought they saw what might have been a UFO in the sky, but they weren't sure. And there were UFO reports, other reports, in the area around this time. So this is just, again, it's just adding so much more. Then there is the third story, and this may very well be the creepiest one. This comes from Pleasant Point, West Virginia, where a family began experiencing what they called poltergeist activity in their home. And they began seeing diamond-shaped lights in the sky that would flutter. Now, Pleasant Point, West Virginia isn't too far from Interstate 77. The Lilly family, their daughter Linda, I don't know why I was going to say Londa, forgive me. Her daughter Linda, of course, during all this was sleeping one night, and she awoke to see a strange man in a suit standing over her. She claimed that it was a big man, very broad shoulders and a nice suit. She could not see his face very well, but she could see that he was grinning down at her. He walked around the bed, stood right over her. She screamed and hid under the covers. When she looked again, he was gone. That was it. That was the only experience that she had with Indrid Cold, the Grinning Man. And while their descriptions do not match, you know, Derenberger says he has brown hair. Linda Lilly doesn't really know what he looked like other than the suit and the grin. And the boys said that he was bald. The thing that stands out most is the gigantic, too big for your face grin. And the fact that they moved without moving, except for in Linda's case where he did apparently walk around the bed. Ufologists believe that these could be an alien entity that's shape-shifting and trying to communicate with humans. And this is why Derenberger mentioned many times that he could hear the voice of the man but never saw the man's mouth move. Other people believe that maybe the whole thing is a hoax. Some people even go as far as to accuse the boys of making it all up, Derenberger of being in on it, and somehow Lilly being involved. And though the Lilly family still profess that they don't believe that their Grinning Man is the same as the other Grinning Man, it is interesting that it all occurred within a month of each other. And there have been other sightings, but this was the very first sightings. So it is very possibly. What is even more interesting is all of the Grinning Man's appearances coincide with times that the Mothman was sighted, and it is believed that in some way, shape, or form the Grinning Man is connected to the Mothman. Supposedly, both the two young men in New Jersey and Derenberger himself, following their meeting with Indrid Cold, also had a meeting with the Men in Black. Supposedly, when the investigation was being done, agents from an unknown federal agency came out and met with all three of them and spoke with them and told them that what they saw was what they did not see. So, is Indrid Cold really out there? Is there a Grinning Man somewhere in the New Jersey, West Virginia area? Is he just trying to make contact with us? Is he really here to make sure that we're happy? And why does he have that stupid grin all the time? I mean, talk, dude. Move your mouth. Give us something. Anyway, that's our story for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you want to support the podcast, remember that you can always go to patreon.com/The Carolina Storyteller. You can support the podcast. You can find out more about The Carolina Storyteller. You can find out what's going on with, you can get all the extra bonus stuff with Valmont. Valmont is in production now. We are a week in. We're getting actors that are recording stuff. Marshawn is getting ready to start getting us a rough draft of what the episode's going to sound like as far as sound design. We're really excited about it. We're getting ready to have episode 1 rolling, and then we'll get going into episode 2 and 3 and 4. And by the time December gets here, we're going to have a really good show ready to launch on December 1st of 2024. And you can find out all about that. Get a hold of Carolina Storyteller merch and soon Valmont merch by going to thecarolinastoryteller.com and just going over and clicking on the store. T-shirts, stickers, mugs, you name it, we got it. Go over there, get yourself something. It's a great gift for the family. Here, have something from the Carolina Storyteller, especially around Christmas. Never too early to start Christmas shopping. Remember that. I told you that. Just remember. Anyway, that's our show for today. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Jonathan Phoenix, the Carolina Storyteller. We'll see you next time. Stay spooky, my friends.